Hi there again, everybody. Welcome back to Prestige Auctions and another day. I believe it's going to be, this one's going to be for the Sunday evening. So normally you'd be getting auction aftermath here, but of course there was no auction yesterday. So instead you've got me chatting away to you. I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different today. But before we do that, just a reminder that the 6th question will be coming up today. 6th question for the quiz that we're running while we're off. So, okay, don't forget that one there. What I want to talk to you about today is something that sits quite heavily with me, because the amount of people that talk about this to me is unbelievable. And it's what I would categorise as auction myths. Okay, why won't people go to auctions? Why don't more people go to auctions first and foremost? Well, I suppose the question to that is, why wouldn't you go to an auction when you can save money? Of course, you haven't got to all be about being a dealer to go and buy from an auction. You've not got to just love antiques, collectibles and arts to go to an auction. You could go to an auction just purely because you want to save money. What do I mean by that? Well, there's lots of ways in an auction that you can save money. You know, if you buy a fridge or a freezer or something that you was going to buy for your garage or shed, you know, and you go out and buy a brand new one, you might be able to buy one second hand that's nearly new for a fraction of the price. So you can save money that way. Of course, if you are looking for things like, I don't know, let's use some examples like wool. If a big bag of wool that from somebody's collection comes into the auction room, you buy all of that. You might be able to take out the pieces that you need and then sell off some of the other pieces to make a little bit of money back. Then ultimately your items end up costing you nothing. And these are several ways that you can save money at the auction room. Of course, you can invest money in an auction room as well. And you can invest money in terms of if you buy gold and silver, for instance, you know, that you want to put away for a rainy day, you might be able to sell them further down the line when they've gone up in value. Of course, there are no guarantees. That's the one thing with investing and auctions and that. But what I really want to talk about is myths, the myths that people go on about. Like, people have said to me, some of the things that people have said to me in the past, like, oh, I daren't go to an auction. What if I scratch my nose or scratch my head? Well, I'm not being funny. And I'm sure there are auction rooms out there that would do this, but I can clearly see when somebody goes like that or rubs their head or whatever, I'm not going to take that as a bid. A bid to a decent auctioneer, which I like to think I am, is quite prominent. So, you know, in an auction room you have a paddle, okay, and imagine this is the paddle. Then, you know, a lot of the times I'll say this to the crowd as well, the first one needs to be like that. So you get in my attention. You remember, you've got a room with lots and lots of people in it. Somebody just going like that might not get seen, but obviously clearly like that will get seen. And then once I've got your attention and I start taking bids from you, then, you know, you can nod your head. I mean, we've got people that do all sorts of different things, but no, so don't worry about that. It's a bit of a myth, really, that going to an auction, if you just scratch your head or something, that the auctioneer will take it as a bid. Put it this way, if he did, he's either conning you or he's a very, very poor auctioneer to take that off somebody. You know, you can see when somebody is bidding. And also, you know, some of the other myths around auction rooms are, you know, well, they're full of dealers. They're full of dealers. Well, I'm not going to say they're not, because some auction rooms are. I've been to many auction rooms where pretty much the only people that are in there are dealers. But it's not as common as you might think. A lot of dealers will leave bids. A lot of dealers will get to know an auction room, know that they can trust the auctioneer, and leave the bids with the house. So they're not necessarily going to be stood in the room bidding against you, but them bids that are on the book, the commission bids that the auctioneer has, may well be from dealers, but they may be from privates as well. So don't be worried and be intimidated about lots of dealers being there and you feeling like you're getting bullied. Ultimately, set your price in your head. Make sure you know where you want to go to, and don't get carried away. That's important. People get carried away in auctions. When you get carried away, you lose money. Don't let your heart rule your head. Your head is telling you it's worth 20 quid to me. Don't go above it. Don't think, oh, he's beat more than me, I'm going to be the big man or big woman or whatever, and put your hand in the air just for the sake of it. That's how you will lose money and pay too much in an auction. So ultimately, you know, that's the dealer side of it. And another one of the myths as well is people think that, and this is the television's fault. This is absolutely the TV's fault. They make people feel that everything in auctions is expensive. Well, of course, you watch a lot of the programs on the telly. Of course, they want to glamorize everything, so they want to make out that it's all expensive and all high end. It makes it more exciting for people to watch. But the reality of most auction rooms is not the case. That is not the case at all. People can come into auction rooms and get bargains. I mean, even when I was bidding in Jackson Green and Preston years ago, on when Antiques Road Trip was there, I got some stuff really cheap. I bought a television that Antiques Road Trip had put in themselves. I bought it. I paid a tenner for it, something like that. And I remember the auction room staff at Jackson Green and Preston moaning at me because I'd left it there on in the back or on a shelf or something, and I went, just put it back in. Now, bearing in mind, that day was being filmed, Antiques Road Trip was there. I bought that TV for about a tenner. I put it back into one of their general sales a few weeks later and got 40 odd quid for it. So, you know, thinking to yourself, are all auction rooms super expensive? No, not necessarily. There can be expensive items, and there is no doubt about it. People can 100% get carried away, but don't fall for all of these myths. You know, don't also think to yourself that you've got to get dressed up to go to an auction, because there is a little bit of a thing where some people do get dressed up to go to auctions. They'll wear tweed hats and, you know, green coats and stuff like that, and wax jackets. I mean, come on, guys. You know, you're trying to turn auctions to be something like the TV is trying to make them out to be, whereas an actual standard house clearance auction like Prestige, you know, is not that auction. You know, you're going to come here, you're going to be around real people, nice people most of the time, and you know, and they're going to help you as well. One of the things we say about Prestige with being a community type auction is that people will befriend you and they will help you out. And you know, there are some allegiances that go on in auction rooms that you can't control as an auctioneer. I wish you could, but you know, certain people will step out of other people's way when they're bidding because they don't want to bid against their friends and so on. However, you know, my mind to that is you should decide what you want to bid on and just bid on it accordingly. Don't get into allegiances. It can be a very dangerous place to go, because then, you know, you might see something you really like the next week, but you might owe somebody a favour and they'll ask you to step out of the way. So, you know, try to avoid those, try to stay away from those, and I think that way you'll have a much better auction experience. So hope that's you know, sort of busted some of the myths around auction rooms, and you know, don't fall into the traps of believing everything you see on the telly or all the stuff you say online. Or what I will say is adrenaline is a big thing in an auction room. You will see people bidding for the first time, and they will be shaking like that because they find it a one hell of an adrenaline rush until they get into the comfort zone of an auction room, and which we try to put everybody into. Then, you know, you'll find your way. Come to the auction and let us show you. Anyway, listen everybody, before we go any further, we've got another quiz question for us. And where are we today? We're on that letter there, and this is another easy one. It's another member of the team. She is a faster auctioneer than me. She controls the room with an iron fist. She's very good at her job. She calls a spade, and she will tell you most of the time the way it is. She works in the office, and most importantly, she's the lady that pays the money out. What's her name? Take that first letter, and that will give you your next answer. So don't forget, once you've got all those letters together, we will be telling you on the very last day of this how many words are in the anagram, and you'll be able to work that out, and you can enter into the draw to try and win some prizes. Thanks ever so much for watching this short YouTube video. We'll hopefully see you all very soon at the auction.